The big Oscar broadcast is in just 2 days, so we have a little bit of time for some more speculation. I really hope Phantom Thread wins something. At the very least, Best Costume.
It's going to win Best Costume Design.
The title of that movie should be, and the Oscar for Best Costumes goes to Phantom Thread.
Yes.
Like Three Billboards, I feel like this is a movie that confounds your expectations. You're presented with these three characters, and it seems kind of clear who they are. And as the movie unfolds, you find out that they're not the people you thought they were.
No.
In particular, the sister.
I'm trying to remember stuff about the sister. There's so much was happening. It's like I was watching a dream. And so much of the movie was kind of repetitive. Breakfast.
Right, yeah. The Oscar that I hope Lady Bird wins is Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah.
Because it's a story that deftly avoids cliches. Presents you with all of these familiar situations in a coming-of-age story, and it just puts a little twist on them.
That's the closest thing to my high school experience that I've ever seen. I am Lady Bird. Insane passions, the surging energy going through my body.
And I still keep going back and forth on Laurie Metcalf and Allison Janney.
Laurie Metcalf. It's so easy for me. Allison Janney is playing just a little bit of a cartoon because I, Tonya, is a little bit of a cartoon.
Right,
so I think it's an easier role to play.
Yeah, whereas Laurie Metcalf is more like the functional dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Allison Janney is incapable of expressing love other than in destructive and toxic ways.
Yeah.
Laurie Metcalf is incapable of expressing unconditional love. I would also love to see Greta Gerwig get the Best Director Oscar. I think it's a foregone conclusion that Del Toro is going to get that.
Yeah, fine if he doesn't. He should have got it for Pan's Labyrinth.
First it was Cuarón, then it was Iñárritu. These Mexicans are coming over here. They're taking our Oscars.
I know. But you know what? The same thing back in the 70s, the Italians did it.
I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good. It might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to The Basement. We're into our 7th year of this show, and over the years, I have asked a lot of you, Craig.
Yeah.
But I've never asked you to bring me the head of someone. I've never said to you, bring me the head of bloggity blog. I've never done that.
No, you haven't.
No. I'm afraid that's going to change tonight. I'm going to need you to go ahead and bring me the head of someone.
Anyone in particular, or should I just go out and find a random head?
Someone in particular.
Okay. I wonder whose head this ever could be.
Bring me the head of Alfredo Garcia.
Ah, muy bueno! Yes! I'm happy you chose this, because it's a movie where you think, I need to watch that movie again, and then immediately you think, no, I can't. I can't watch it again. So it's good that you're forcing me to watch this.
Released in 1974, BMTHOAG stars Isela Vega and Welcome to the Basement alum Warren Oates.
Oh, yeah.
It co-stars Chris Christopherson and legendary drunken Hollywood sad man Gig Young. Sam Peckinpah was the director, and this is the only one of his films on which he had final cut. I don't know much about this movie, but one thing I know, it's probably dripping with testosterone.
Yeah.
Now I look at you and I wonder, how could you be more manly? Perhaps a mustache would do the trick. Or in this case, a whole bunch of them.
Ha ha! Mustache!
It's the game of famous mustaches.
Let's give this a try. Villainous cartoon character.
Snidely Whiplash.
Yeah, there we go, yes.
All right, listen up. Go immediately to the old leather couch and collect the bounty that is, bring me the head of Alfredo Garcia. Rumor has it that Sam Peckinpah killed and ate that lion. It's a beautiful day in Mexico, and a young pregnant woman lounges by a stream.
Everything is peaceful.
Her father wants to see her. Why do you bring me a girl when I specifically asked you for a plethora of piñatas? He wants to know who the father of her baby is.
Who has desecrated his grandfather? She won't talk.
His grandfather?
Already messing up.
After some literal arm twisting, she reveals that it was
Alfredo Garcia.
Do you think he goes by Alf?
Alfie?
Alf Garcia. The father is upset.
Un millón el que me traiga la cabeza de Alfredo Garcia.
Premise.
Bring me the head of Alfredo Garcia.
Oh, thank you. I can't read.
Tráiganmela.
He should launch into that song from Willy Wonka. Give it to me now. I want a head.
I want a whole head. I love how they're setting this up as though it's some Cannonball Run type thing. We're gonna follow all these kooks on their whole, like, oh, I gotta get there first. So all of El Jefe's goons go off to every corner of Mexico to try to track this guy down.
I don't know Alfredo Garcia, but I can tell you where Pesto Alvarez lives. These two guys, Fred and Johnny, go to Mexico City, and they stop in a bar. This bar is owned by Benny, who's playing the piano. There's some drinking, a little roughhousing with the ladies.
Qué bueno estás.
Peckinpah!
How do you guys like baseball?
Whack! They task Benny with finding Alfredo Garcia, dead or alive.
Well, alive isn't our problem. How about dead or alive? How about that?
40% of Warren Oates' head is teeth.
I didn't catch your name, mister. Red Sea Dogs.
That's
a famous name.
Yeah.
Benny goes and sees Chula.
You're a lying, cheating, no good, two-bit bitch.
For Sam Peckinpah, that's sweet nothings. And she informs him that Alfredo Garcia is dead.
He died in a car accident. This is 1974?
Yeah.
Bad year for Fredos.
Benny goes to this hotel room where all these dudes are. Now I will check you for guns.
Hey, boss, he has 2 legs. I checked.
Be careful, he might be a runner.
Glasses.
He does have eyes.
We will put this picture up on our wall of fame if you finish this 96-ounce steak. And he tells them, I can find Alfredo Garcia for you. They say, we need the head. We need proof that it's him. They try to lowball him on the price.
Give you $1,000.
We can go 5,000.
10,000. I go all the way or I pass.
He has 4 days. And if he doesn't complete the mission, then it's curtains for him. Benny goes and buys a big knife.
Chula stops by his place.
He wears the sunglasses to bed.
Yeah, this guy puts Corey Hart to shame. I wear my sunglasses in bed. The next morning, Benny wakes up. He finds out that he's having a little problem down in his nether regions.
It's a fish scale. How'd that get there?
I've been shape of watered.
He wakes up with a little case of the crabs. And he tells her, pack your bags. You're coming with me. We're going to find Alfredo Garcia together. They set out in Benny's Chevy Impala.
She has a guitar, she sings, he grumbles along with her.
Arbolito, arbolito.
Tiny tree, tiny tree.
And they're being followed by these 2 guys in a green station wagon.
Hungry, baby?
Wah, wah. Hungry baby. Benny and Chula stop for a picnic. Chula wants to get married. Benny says, we'll get married soon.
Yeah, he's gonna do it. He really means it. He's always wanted, yeah, it's gonna be great.
And then when I get all this money, we can get out of here. I got big dreams.
A flat tire comes into their life. They decide, why fix it? We can just go camping for the night.
Hi, it's us again. Just checking up on you. Okay, bye. This is a bad idea, because these 2 bikers show up.
We butting in? Yeah, a little bit.
They're vaguely menacing, and then they become overtly menacing.
Bad news, we're not nice people.
And one of the bikers decides to borrow Benny's girlfriend.
You 2 guys are definitely on my shit list.
I'm guessing these guys are on a lot of shit lists.
She goes off to the weeds with this guy. You might recognize him from your dad's music collection.
What starts out as a rape turns into a weird scene. He walks away, she follows him.
He ends up making out with Chula.
Meanwhile, back at camp, Benny gets the drop on the guy, he gets his gun, and he guns both the bikers down.
So now Benny's a murderer.
He and Chula drive into town, and they get a hotel room for the night.
The next day, they finally make it to Alfredo Garcia's hometown. That donkey's radio is blasting. They find the fresh grave, and it is surrounded by Garcia's family.
Hey, can you guys go away? We're having a funeral here.
Well, you tell her that we've come a long way
To desecrate this grave.
Benny says, sure, we'll leave, and we definitely won't come back late tonight.
They go get a hotel room together. It's worse than all the other places they've stayed.
I have a suggestion for this hotel. Wallpaper.
Or complete walls.
Yeah.
Chula's not comfortable grave robbing her ex-boyfriend's head.
I promise I'll put the grave back just the way I found it.
Except for one thing.
They go to the grave. Benny digs up the corpse. There's nothing but heads in here.
Which one's his?
He's about to take the head when... Shovel! Benny wakes up partially buried in a grave. Chula is dead, and the head is gone.
Now Benny has lost everything.
They're kind of camping again. It's those 2 guys in the station wagon.
Have any of you fine fellows seen a couple of guys about this tall with a third guy about this tall?
Benny gets in his car, and he goes to find those 2 guys. They have a flat tire, and he goes and gets his revenge on them.
because it feels so goddamn good.
Grabs the head and heads on down the road.
The head is unpleasant smelling. Put it in the trunk.
Flies start coming in.
He goes into town for a beer.
A sus órdenes.
Cerveza muy frío, por favor.
Todos la cerveza. En Mexico. Necesito ahora.
And he decides to get some ice so the head will keep a little better. Put it in the trunk. The trunk. He gets run off the road. It's those villagers, and they want that head back because Benny desecrated a grave.
I know about graves. What's done is done.
I'm gonna take the head. You want it? You can kill me. I got nothing to live for anyway.
Those two guys, Fred and Johnny, show up.
Ah, here's some conveniently amoral people to help out. Any of you speak English? We're lost. And Benny and the two guys speak in a little code.
Now, where's the cutoff? Right here.
Where's the cutoff?
But you're gonna have to take it.
They pull out machine guns and gun down all the villagers.
Peck and paw.
That was the Peckinpahiest. He looks in the bag. Alfredo winks at him. Johnny is killed.
Do I get paid?
Spoken like someone who already knows the answer.
Oh, that's how I want to be shot someday. Not actually.
Benny takes their car and the head back to his house. Benny and the head. Dun, 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 dun. Bam, 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 bam. This whole time, he thought that he was bringing someone else the head of Alfredo Garcia, but really, he was always just bringing it to himself. Benny goes to see the gangsters in the hotel room. He says, "Here's your head. It's in this picnic basket." They say, "Here's your money.
You can count it if you want to.
You can throw it in the air and jump up and down on the bed if you want to.
How much is it really worth? What the hell would you want with that?
No questions, Benny.
Take your money and go." Benny kills them all. And he finds out who wants the head in the first place. It's that Mexican guy who's mad at his daughter, El Jefe. Aero Mexico has a strict one carry-on policy, so he had to check the head.
He goes on to El Jefe's place where they're celebrating the baptism of El Jefe's new grandchild. Be sure you have this validated before you come out.
El Jefe is very happy to see him, gives him a big briefcase full of money.
16 people are dead because of him.
Dude, just take the money. What are you doing? Benny guns everybody down. Why are you doing this?
And he kills those two. He kills that guy, kills this guy.
There's no one else to take the head to. There's no one higher up. He's got a gun pointed at El Jefe, and his daughter says
Kill him.
she doesn't like him.
Come on, Al. We're going home.
He tries to get out of this big complex.
But all those bullets stop him.
That's the end of his story.
It's looking like the end of an old TV show.
I wish instead of this they'd do this kind of thing. They'd show a character and they would go. And that is the end of Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia.
Muerte!
Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. Good title.
Yeah, that title really works.
Right up there with Kill Bill. This
like-
gets right to the point. When this movie kicks into high gear, it certainly kicks into high gear, but it takes a long time to get there.
This is my second viewing of the movie, and I find that first hour really cultivating the ground of the movie. Setting up the relationship between Benny and Chula, which is important because the actions of the second half of the movie, it's motivated by his love for Chula.
I think it's also motivated by the fact that his life is basically over.
Yeah.
When he's crawling out of his own grave, that is a very clear metaphor for what's going on. He dies when she dies. And so that's why he goes on this ridiculous revenge rampage, because he knows that it's going to end in his death and it's going to put him out of his misery.
You don't really see that many love triangles in which all three people in the love triangle are buried together.
No, you don't.
Or in this case, 2.9 of them. It feels like you can practically smell this movie. Every single damn room they go into. On the car.
Sure.
Just Warren Oates. Something foul is coming out of those pores.
So the scene with Chula and Christopherson.
You want to talk about this?
I do want to talk about this.
Okay.
Because I think it's a very fascinating scene. On the surface, it comes off as something that Peckinpah has done in the past. A woman is assaulted, a woman is raped, but she kind of gets into it.
Yeah.
Which is really troubling. I think it goes deeper than that. What we see are two people changing tactics to get what they want. Because the fact that she slaps him, I think he realizes, okay, she's going to be too much of a fighter. I'm going to turn this into a seduction instead.
Oh, so you think that that was actually
His intention.
his intention, as opposed to him being like, you know what, this isn't me. I'm just a guy who's down in Mexico on a road trip.
No, I did not see that at all.
Yeah.
He's a manipulator. And then her tactic becomes, if I let myself get seduced by this guy, he probably won't let his buddy rape me.
Oh, yeah.
And, who knows, I might go off with this guy. Yeah. I might decide that I like him better than Benny.
I don't think Chula would do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something that I've thought about a lot, and there's really no hard and fast answer to that scene. Warren Oates, this is his Hamlet.
He even talks to a ghost, in a sense.
This is just a love letter to Oates. Really, who else could have played this role? Oh yeah, young Jack Nicholson could have played it, but they wouldn't have had that feeling of such desperation, pain, and sadness. He does so much in this movie while wearing sunglasses. And without his eyes, you can still see all of his fear, and you can see his despair. What do you think about when you think of Peckinpah?
You think about the slow-mo. You think about blood. Desperate men.
Do you think he was an artist as a filmmaker, or do you think he was a craftsman?
Anyone who has a recognizable style is an artist.
Going back to watch this again, I didn't realize that, he had a little bit of a poet in him. I know about Graves. Any writer would have loved to have written that line. And you think, looking at the movie, oh, he doesn't fall that far. He's living this crappy life in this crappy town. But he does fall miles. It's not a descent into hell. It's a descent farther into hell, where he, in fact, becomes the devil, the Lord of the Flies, followed by the swarm of death.
The ninth circle of hell in Dante's Inferno is all ice.
Yeah, hey, there we go. Other than the tree where they have their picnic, I think the only other peaceful place in the entire movie is El Jefe's compound. It's just this place of bliss and delight.
If you see El Jefe's compound as a paradise of sorts, we have Warren Oates, the devil, coming into it and laying waste to it.
This movie really spoke to me a lot the second time through.
Well, that was Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. If you haven't seen it, you should add it to your movie list. And then if you don't like it, you can add it to your shit list. And now, Bring Me Seen It. The theme for tonight's Seen It, Oscars 2018, Part 2.
Patrick Krellin writes, my most disappointing movie of the year was Call Me By Your Name. Seen it.
Seen it.
I was like, that's not nearly as good as I thought it was going to be, but I have been thinking about it constantly for the last 3 or 4 days. My wife and I keep talking about the movie, keep finding more to think about. So I was initially disappointed, but I love it now. I think it's great.
I was a bit put off by the pace of it at the beginning. It has the slow, languid pace of a summer in Tuscany.
It has a lot to offer in a lot of new and exciting ways.
And there are some nice moments when the two fellas finally get together, just the way that they're expressing their kind of sexual excitement. They're just sort of like grappling with each other.
It's a very masculine homosexuality, more so than I've ever seen in a movie. Well, there's Brokeback Mountain, but the difference is this time it's like both guys are like, yeah, this is what we do, as opposed to the Brokeback guys. I don't know if we should be doing this.
Right.
The movie makes you uncomfortable a lot of times.
Yeah.
The peach scene. Yeah. You have to deal with just the fact that you're never going to have a summer to spend in Tuscany falling in love and reading constantly, which... Oh my God, if I could just read for a summer.
Waking up in the morning and saying, I don't think I'll wear a shirt today.
Exactly. And then it gets to the speech at the end of the movie, Michael Stuhlbarg's speech. All of these cards have been laid out on the table, and they're all attached to strings, and you pull it up, and it's in the form of a lantern. It's one of the best paternal speeches ever in a movie.
Dylan Van Oerkerk, the disaster artist. James Franco's Golden Globe was well-deserved. Seen it.
Not seen it.
That's one thing I like about the Golden Globes, is that they reward comedies.
Yes.
It's hard to talk about this movie without addressing the controversy that came out shortly after it.
You don't have to.
A lot of people think that sort of ruined his chances for an Oscar nomination, but I don't think he would have been nominated anyway, considering the playing field for Best Actor.
Yeah.
What he did was a dead-on impersonation, but not necessarily an Oscar-worthy performance.
He doesn't bring anything to this thing, which is Tommy Wiseau, to shine a light on him that we don't already have.
I think the movie does that, The Disaster Artist is a hell of a lot of fun. I saw it twice.
Jesse Filer writes, while I like The Big Sick a lot, I felt it was a bit overrated. Seen it.
I like The Big Sick a lot in the way that you like your dopey friend. I have a lot of problems with this movie.
Is he talking about me? Am I the dopey friend?
You're not.
Am I thinking out loud? Can you hear me at home? Can Matt hear me? If he can't, then this is a successful aside.
You're not the dopey friend.
Really? I think I just proved that I am the dopey friend.
My biggest problem was that I hated the girlfriend. I hated her. She's so unpleasant. Throughout the whole movie, I just wanted to grab Kumail and say, run. You don't need to be here. There's plenty of other girls out there who will treat you decently.
I find that the early parts of him picking her up, them getting to know each other, I found that to drag and also be a couple that I didn't care a lot about. But once she got sick, then I cared about her because that's the magic of the movies.
Another big problem with this is that the role that Kumail Nanjiani plays requires him to give more than he is able to give.
Yeah.
I think he would be ready for this role in about 5 years. He's not quite there yet. He can't hit the high notes. Mary Tisher, The Darkest Hour. Seen it.
Seen it.
What?
I really like the director Joe Wright. I love Atonement. I think that's a great movie. But in this movie, he just ramps up the Joe Wrightedness. I'm going to really make every shot seem epic. Tracking shot or a strange crane shot. It's tough. You have a movie where it's about people talking to each other. That's hard to make interesting, but he so overdoes it to a point where I just thought that the movie became a cartoon about this desperate moment of 20th century history.
I found the character of the young secretary to be very superfluous.
Yeah.
It's almost as though the screenwriters said, well, let's bring a woman into this.
She was an actual historic person.
I didn't feel like she had a real footing in the story. I think he should get the Oscar for this. I think he definitely deserves it. I watched that whole movie. I never once saw Gary Oldman. There was one time he did a little thing with his mouth, and I was like, there's Gary. Go to our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. You can click on the PayPal donation button. You can make a one-time or rolling monthly donation to support this show.
Only donate dollars, not heads.
One of our donors is Casey, who says, a special hello to you from Dragon Tears Gaming. Hello.
Hey, Casey.
You can find out who the rest of our donors are and see the contents of our mail crate on our next episode of Unboxing, which is coming up this coming Friday.
There's a crate of mail.
Also, at our website, you can see an updated Hall of Fame. All of the 2017 inductees are in there. And a Season 6 episode guide. Go check those out. They're a lot of fun to read.
Yeah.
What movie will we watch next? Well, I don't know, but I do know that it's going to come out just in time for my birthday.
Oh, no.
And what has become one of my favorite traditions on this show, I would like you to bring me the gift of a movie.
Okay. Just this once.
Last time I had you bring a movie from 1973. But you know what? It's not all about the year of my birth. There are plenty of other years I've lived through, such as 2008. There are even years that happened before my birth, such as 1937. Say, these are 2 years that we've never watched a movie from on this show.
2008 or 1937?
Yes. I'm real excited about what Craig's gonna bring me, and you should be excited about this.
You know an old song called Cielito Lindo Son Azteca?
You know a little song called Me and Bobby McGee? A lot of people think that Janis Joplin wrote that song, but actually it was me, Chris Christopherson, singer-songwriter.
You two guys are definitely on my shit list.